trade with settlements, but that also requires a Commission proposal that is currently not there. But really, what more can we do? I really do hope that we have a political agreement regarding the violent settlers sanctions that has been on the table for quite some time, but I hope we can actually go forward.
Please, after the assets fall, EU spoke here in Europe for the condition for the new authorities. Right now, the Kurds are denied the right of education in mother language. Would you address these issues today with Minister Shaybani?
Yes, we will address these issues because also the question of minorities and their rights to have education in their own language in Syria. So, of course, more broader, all the majorities or all the groups that are living in Syria, but of course the Kurds issue also comes up.
That's about the situation in Iran. Mr. Trump today rejected the Iranian deal or whatsoever going there. You are promoting the political solution. But can you tell us what are you promoting exactly, aside of promoting political solution? And again, as Peters, you are planning now to change the plans. Is it going to lead the international coalition? What role is going to play?
Yes, as I said, we are supporting the diplomatic solution, and we are engaged also with those countries who are mediating the two parties. We are also engaged with the Gulf countries because we have the same worries. Even if there is ceasefire, that there's also long-term talks about the threats that Iran poses to the region. That's not only nuclear, where we have actually offered our expertise because we have the experts who have negotiated nuclear deals before, but it's also the issue of other threats that Iran poses to its neighborhood. The proxies, the missile program, also their hybrid and cyber activities in Europe. So we are discussing also when this point comes that we are part of the security architecture of the Gulf because we see this in the same way. It is our immediate neighborhood. It has very much effects on us. But of course, right now, the push is to have the first phase, which is stopping the war, opening the Strait of Hormuz, and there, of course, Americans and Iran are negotiating themselves, and there is we can only support them, but we can't really agree on their behalf.
What does the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Germany actually mean, and wouldn't the troops actually strengthen the NATO eastern flank in case they are getting redeployed there?
There is troop deployment all the time happening in Europe, that troops are moved, so that's really not something new. I think it is important that the American troops also stay in Europe because they are protecting American interests in Europe as well as European interests. This is the announcement that Pentagon has made, and of course there is still time to look into what it means practically. So thank you very much.
Please, just one question, please, about Western Balkans. What do you expect today from the Western Balkans ministers, and what will be your message to them today?
We will discuss, of course, enlargement. What more can we do so that they move on with the reforms? We will discuss also the cooperation regarding them standing up to the hybrid threats that are also posed in Western Balkans. We have had good experience and practice from Moldova. Now we are also working with Armenia. Western Balkan countries ask the same because they also see their attacks against their democracy. We are discussing security and defense, especially also Montenegro's security and defense partnership with Montenegro, for example. And what we expect from them is also alignment with our foreign and security policy and the reforms that they have to do.
Engage more in Belgrade-Pristina, Serbia-Kosovo dialogue, please.
Yes. We had actually planned the Belgrade-Pristina dialogue, high-level political dialogue. I had the both agreement from both leaders from Kosovo as well as Serbia, but now we have elections in Kosovo coming up again, which is, of course, pushing this forward. But I'm working separately with both of them so that we can move on with the implementation of the agreements that are already in place. Thank you.
Ik heb een hoop vragen. Ten eerste, vandaag maakt niet de Hongaarse minister zijn opwachting, dacht ik, maar de ambassadeur. Maar wat verwacht u van Hongarije?
Nou, ik verwacht van Hongarije, het is natuurlijk positief nieuws. Orbán heeft jarenlang de gezamenlijke vuist van Europa naar buiten toe geblokkeerd en gefrustreerd. Dus daar verwachten we van Hongarije dat ze in het gezamenlijk belang nu met ons zijn. Tegelijkertijd verwachten we ook van Hongarije dat de hervormingen worden doorgevoerd. Er zijn natuurlijk zorgen over de rechtsstaat daar en over veel meer zaken. En daar zullen echt stappen gezet moeten worden.
En denkt u ook, want vandaag staan ook mogelijke sancties tegen in ieder geval de gewelddadige kolonisten op de Westbank op de agenda. Denkt u dat daar nu eindelijk stappen kunnen worden gezet, zeg maar, besluiten worden genomen?
Nou, het is natuurlijk iets waar Nederland zich al heel lang voor inzet en wat ook tot op heden niet mogelijk was. We gaan vandaag merken of dat die posities veranderd zijn, of dat Hongarije de positie verandert. Maar wat Nederland betreft nemen we inderdaad maatregelen tegen producten uit nederzettingen en zeker tegen gewelddadige kolonisten.
En is het ook weer tijd om het toch ook weer het EU-associatieverdrag met Israël ter discussie te stellen en ook daar restricties op te nemen, bijvoorbeeld het handelsdeel?
Mijn inzet is steeds geweest om de druk op Israël op te voeren. Dit is daar een onderdeel van. Maar wel op het moment dat je daar ook een meerderheid voor hebt. Nou, vorige keer is gebleken dat daar nu geen meerderheid voor is. Ik heb in de afgelopen weken niet het idee gekregen dat dat aan het verschuiven is. Dus op dit moment is dat in deze vergadering niet aan de orde.
Oké. Dan gaan we even over op Oekraïne. De oorlog gaat daar maar steeds door. Poetin heeft laatst gezegd van, Gerhard Schröder zou wel de onderhandelaar namens de EU kunnen zijn. Mevrouw Kallas heeft daarnet gezegd dat ze dat niet zo'n goed idee vindt. Hoe staat u daar tegenaan?
Kijk, voor ons is het belangrijk dat Europa betrokken is bij die onderhandelingen. Omdat er ook zaken in die onderhandelingen op tafel zouden kunnen liggen die ons aangaan. Onze relatie met Oekraïne, maar met name ook de veiligheid op ons continent. Dus ik denk dat het goed is dat Europa daarbij betrokken is. En we zullen inderdaad goed moeten nadenken over in welke vorm dat kan zijn. Op dit moment zijn Duitsland, Frankrijk, Groot-Brittannië, E3 zijn daar uit Europa betreft betrokken samen met de commissie. En ik denk dat dat een goede combinatie is.
Maar de naam Gerhard Schröder?
Volgens mij, het format wat we nu hebben, volgens mij moeten we dat versterken. Dus dat is Engeland, Frankrijk, Duitsland en de commissie. En laten we kijken, en als daar iemand naar voren geschoven moet worden, dan is dat onderwerp van gesprek.
En minister Heijnen zou in het FT vorige week hebben gezegd toch weer de bevroren Russische tegoeden voor Oekraïne te willen aanwenden. Is dat kabinetsbeleid? Staat u daar ook achter?
Ja, dus de vorige keer hebben we een oplossing gevonden voor Oekraïne met 27 landen. Dat was belangrijk, maar dat is een oplossing die Oekraïne voor de komende tijd helpt, maar daarna niet meer. Dus dat betekent dat we altijd weer zullen moeten kijken naar eventuele nieuwe mogelijkheden om Oekraïne te kunnen financieren, want ze hebben onze steun keihard nodig. Dit is een van de zaken die steeds op tafel zullen blijven liggen.
En dan gaat u ook hier proberen meerderheden te vinden om dat aan te wenden? Want België had destijds grote bezwaren.
Ja. Op dit moment niet. Dus we kijken op allerlei manieren hoe we de druk op Rusland kunnen verhogen. Hoe we de 90 miljard die is vrijgekomen, hoe we die zo goed mogelijk kunnen inzetten ter steun aan Oekraïne. Daar voeren we vandaag gesprekken over. Maar voor de iets langere termijn zullen alle opties op tafel moeten liggen om Oekraïne zo goed mogelijk te helpen.
Oké, dan even naar Iran. We gaan naar
rondje
de
wereld.
Ja. De straat van Hormuz. Trump heeft weer het nieuwe vredesplan, zal ik het maar noemen, steun van Iran afgewezen. Mevrouw Kallas zegt net van er is toch meer appetite inmiddels om Aspides uit te breiden naar de straat van Hormuz. Hoe kijkt u daar tegenaan en sowieso tegen de situatie nu in die straat van Hormuz?
Nou, sowieso natuurlijk een hele zorgelijke situatie. We zien de enorme impact van de blokkade van de straat van Hormuz. Dat betekent dat ik van harte hoop dat de partijen samen tot een diplomatieke oplossing komen. Want dat zal uiteindelijk de enige oplossing zijn voor het openen van de straat van Hormuz. Nederland is in gesprek met een internationale coalitie in de planningsfase om een bijdrage te leveren op het moment dat de situatie dat toelaat. Ja. Dus we volgen die situatie op de voet.
Oké, en Aspides, de uitbreiding daarvan, of past dat in die bijdrage mogelijk van die 40 landen inmiddels die de coalitie vormen?
Nou, die coalitie is natuurlijk veel breder dan Aspides. Wij denken dat het van groot belang is om daar niet alleen de Europese partijen, maar juist ook breder landen bij te betrekken. Dus die gesprekken blijven voeren en welke oplossing uit welke onderdelen die oplossing straks bestaat, dat moeten we dus zien.
Dan gaan we naar de Balkan. U heeft, jullie allemaal een ontbijt met de ministers van de Balkanstaten. Hoe belangrijk is dat om het contact aan te halen, warm te houden, te verstevigen? Ik weet niet hoe u het ziet, maar...
Ja, heel belangrijk. Dat zijn natuurlijk landen die ook in het hart van Europa liggen. En waar we uiteindelijk ook willen dat ze onze kant op kijken en dat niet externe invloeden daar een te grote rol gaan spelen. Tegelijkertijd zijn we als Nederland ook altijd helder dat voor toetreding aan alle criteria voldaan moet worden. En op dat gebied zijn er nog vele stappen te zetten. Maar ja, zoals wij altijd zeggen, wij zijn strict, fair en engaged. Dus wij houden ons aan de criteria. Maar tegelijkertijd gaan we ook het gesprek aan om te kijken hoe die criteria behaald kunnen worden.
Oké, nog één laatste vraag als het mag. Vliegtuig Tenerife. Er zou een tweede vliegtuig vanuit Nederland gaan. Heeft u enig idee wanneer die vertrekt en weer aankomt?
Nou, niet hier. Ongetwijfeld hebben wij die informatie, maar die heb ik hier niet paraat. Maar het klopt dat er nog een tweede vliegtuig gaat. En dat natuurlijk zo snel mogelijk de mensen in Nederland willen hebben. Niet alleen de Nederlanders, maar ook eventuele passagiers die niet op eigen gelegenheid van hun land gerepatrieerd konden worden. En vervolgens doen we dat niet alleen natuurlijk met de grootste zorg voor de passagiers, maar zeker ook voor de volksgezondheid. En daarom alle kaders daaromheen.
Ja. Dank u wel.
Sorry, just quickly in English, on trade with Israel, the illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, do you support a full ban or do you support tariffs, or what's your position on that?
Yeah, so in the Netherlands we're working on a full ban of products from the illegal settlements, and on the European level we're seeing where majorities could be to take a next step.
Do you expect QMV or maybe tariffs?
No, at the moment we're going. I'm going into the conversations. Let's see how the majorities are and what the position of our colleague member states are.
And your legislation at national level, when do you expect it to be adopted?
We're working on it now, and it will be a process of the coming weeks where we try to make to set up the laws in such a way that they work. Yeah.
Do you think that several countries like the Netherlands working on national legislation on this alongside Ireland and Spain, obviously, that's passed their own legislation, will pressure the Commission to take a position on it?
Well, I think it shows that if in Europe it doesn't go fast enough, that other member states on any topic are willing to move forward. And I hope that we have a very good discussion here in Europe to do something together, because in the end also the Netherlands always prefers European solutions.
Sorry, and just last one on Hormuz. Are you sending any frigates alongside the British and the French to the Red Sea or the Eastern Mediterranean right now?
We are discussing, we're planning together in the international coalition when the moment is that we can contribute to any operation. But at the moment the situation is not as such that we can do something.
So currently no deployments?
So currently no deployments.
Minister, one question, Minister. Mr. Trump today rejected the proposal of Iran whatsoever going there. You are promoting the political diplomatic solution, but what exactly solution you are promoting, and in which means you are promoting this solution?
Yeah, so with many European partners, we are in conversations also with the US and with other parties. We only see a diplomatic solution for opening the Strait of Hormuz. And not only, of course, the economic importance of the Strait of Hormuz, but also the regional escalation that worries us. And in the end also the security and safety of the people in Iran worry us. And we really hope that in the negotiations we come to a conclusion where all those aspects are covered.
Last thing about this health issue, this this pandemic fears, how you can assure the world that everything is under control?
Well, it's the World Health Organization that is in constant contact with the Health Ministry of Spain and the Health Ministry of the Netherlands and all the other health ministries of people, of nationals on the ship and beyond. And it's important to have an international strategy there. It's the World Health Organization that does that. For us, we have, of course, our whole operation is based on concern for the passengers, but also concern for public health. And we try to do that in the best way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ono što je važno da je danas Crna Gora prisutna na ovom važnom sastanku koji je organizovala uvažena visoka predstavnica Evropske unije Kaja Kallas, gdje će biti ministri vanjskih poslova Evropske unije i ministri vanjskih poslova Zapadnog Balkana. Danas će biti sva ona aktualna pitanja koja su izazov ne samo za Europu nego i za svijet. Dakle, bit će priča oko agresije Rusije na Ukrajinu, bit će priča o Bliskom istoku i bit će priča o Zapadnom Balkanu. Znamo nakon agresije Rusije na Ukrajinu sama bezbednosna arhitektura Europe je pred izazovom i sigurno moramo nastaviti da šaljemo poruku jedinstva kako bismo dali bolji odgovor. Isto tako, Europa mora biti snažnije uključena kada je u pitanju Bliski istok kroz politički dijalog i ono što naše građane najviše interesuje, a to je evropsko proširenje i položaj Crne Gore i zemalja Zapadnog Balkana. Dakle, danas očekujemo još jednom snažnu podršku prije svega Crnoj Gori i zemljama Zapadnog Balkana kada je u pitanju evropske integracije i politika proširenja gdje ćemo ponovo, vjerujem, čuti poruku da je politika proširenja živa, a sa druge strane ovakvi sastanci šalju jasnu poruku da moramo jačati politički dijalog i da moramo postepeno uključivati zemlje kandidate u rad i politike Evropske unije. Dakle, Crna Gora kroz svoj jasan cilj da završi pregovarački proces ove godine i da 2028. bude 28. članica Evropske unije, nastavit će snažno da sprovodi reforme, usvaja standarde kako bismo bili spremni da ostvarimo najvažniji naš vanjsko-politički cilj, a to je da budemo dio Evropske unije 2028.
We'll be discussing key geopolitical topics today, starting with the Western Balkan, and I have a very clear message. There is a place for all Western Balkan states in the European Union. Enlargement is the priority for the European Union, and if our candidates deliver, then we have to deliver too, and we are delivering. As you know, after 17 years, we have established for the first time the Working Party on the accession treaty for a new country. This is Montenegro, and the last Eurobarometer has shown that the people of Montenegro are really very much in favor of becoming a member of the EU. Then on the growth plan implementation, it's running well, and in the next day we will disburse close to 200 million for Montenegro, Albania and Montenegro. And we are also bringing tangible results when it's about the gradual integration. As you know, last week Serbia has joined Albania, Montenegro and North Macedonia in the SEPA, and we are now preparing the Western Balkan EU Summit, which will be in Podgorica on June 5th, and I am expecting really strong commitment from all the candidates from the Western Balkan to stay firm on the European path. We will be also discussing Ukraine, and today I will urge all the member states to, as soon as possible, formally open all the clusters. Cluster 1 could be open still under the Cypriot presidency, and for the rest of the 5 clusters, we hope that we could manage this in July. Namely, we have done a lot of front-loading, and now everything is ready to be formally open. And then in the afternoon we will have a very important high-level meeting of the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children. We are organizing this together with Canada and Ukraine, and together with the representatives of close to 60 countries we will discuss on 3 topics. First is how to bring the children back. Second is how to take care of them and their families once they are back. And the third very important topic is making Russia accountable for this. You know, war has really many faces, but stealing the children is really one of the most horrific, and we should stop this, and Russia should pay.
Commissioner, did you already have an exchange with the new Hungarian government regarding Ukraine EU accession? Are they positive, and how much they are positive on this matter?
I see the most positive message from the new Prime Minister, Peter Magyar, that he said that all the candidate countries will be treated equally. And of course we have been speaking about Ukraine a lot too.
Commissioner, what would be really concrete steps that you can discuss today? What is the strategy here to bring back, to support Ukraine and bringing back?
There are on many levels. First is we have to have a system, and the system is already existing with the help of Ukraine. You know, their Ministry of Justice has done a good system. We have to have enough money to be able to find those children. And what is also very important is the diplomatic level. With the help of all the participating countries, we have to raise the awareness what Russia is really doing. You know, it's, if you are having a war, this is what we know from the Second World War, and it is happening again. It really shouldn't. So I expect that with the help of all those countries, we will be able, of course, the result is the most important, that we bring as much as possible from more than 20,000 abducted children back.
Maybe give information on the loan for Ukraine, because Ukraine should prepare some documents. Of course, it's not your sphere of responsibility, but maybe you have data.
It is my responsibility. Whatever it has to deal with Ukraine, it is the responsibility of the European Commission, so we are in a good way. I hope that in the next week we will be able to disperse the first payments.
I've had some,
yeah. Koje želite poruke za Montenegro? 28 by 28. You know, I'm really, as I was stating before, very happy that the citizens of Montenegro, you know, the numbers went well, up really well for more than 20%. So it is really a proof that once the government of Montenegro, the European Commission are working together, then also the citizens are seeing what is happening and are supporting this. And no accession can happen without the support of the citizens on both sides. Regarding when we will be finished, or you said 28 by 28, if Montenegro goes this way and we will support this, then this would be possible, meaning that we could finish the technical part of the negotiations at the end of this year or at the beginning of the next year. But of course, still, Montenegro has to deliver, and member states have to support this. So please tell, or I tell the people in Montenegro and the government, you also have to work with the citizens in the member states. It is very important.
This assessment that loan is going to be like game changer for Ukraine, helping with reforms, with military needs. So how do you think, is it actually going to help to bring a war to the end and make a signal to Putin that Ukraine is going to be supported by Europe and so on?
I would love to be in the position to say that the money will stop the war. And luckily I can't say this, but this money will enable Ukraine to defend not just the country, but also Europe and European values. So I think that this is now until the end of 27. Then in the new MMF we are still in the discussion, but for the time being, and with the help of the donors, I think that we can provide now enough money, or a good part of the money, not just for the military part, but also for normal functioning of the state. So partially this money, as you know, will go to the state budget, and for this Ukraine has to deliver the reforms, and it is delivering.
Over the weekend, Vladimir Putin said that Armenia's choice of a more European path is something that he wouldn't like and is trying to threaten them against it. He also said for the first time that Ukraine's decision to go on a European path maybe prompted his full-scale invasion. What do you make of this, the threats against EU potential candidates?
Only people of Armenia can decide about their future. And the last European political community meeting and also EU-Armenia summit have shown what kind of way they want to go, and Europe will support them. Of course, we are aware of the geopolitical dynamics in this area, and we will follow this very carefully.
Commissioner, there are some ideas being floated about focusing more on gradual integration, including possibly gradual integration into the institutions without voting rights. What do you think about these ideas?
Thank you, Lily. It is indeed, plus minus, we are still using the methodology in the enlargement process, which is 40 years old. Meaning we are living in different times. We are living not in peace times. We have no time. So what we are now discussing with the member states, if there are some possibilities where we could move the gradual integration principles mainly from the common market, where we are using it now, also to the other areas, especially security. So we are now in a deep discussion with the member states, and I'm positive about the development.
Any details about sanctions for kidnapping Ukrainian children?
This is what we will be also discussing today with the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, indeed.
You already paid support more than 700 million to Syria. And today, Asad Shaibani, Syrian Foreign Minister, will be here also to support more Syria. But don't you think it's better to give them the money or some support with a condition, because there are so many minority there? Sometimes they are not very well with the minority.
This you have to ask the HRVP Kaja Kallas.
What will happen with Serbia? When you had, možemo na srpskom, pošto ste rekli da će biti zamrznuti fondovi za Srbiju Evropske unije zbog...
No, I have never had that the funds are being frozen. Really, this is very important with Serbia. So Serbia has a place in the European Union, a democratic Serbia. What we are doing now is we are constantly checking if all the recipient countries of the growth plan money are fulfilling the criteria. And it is true that since the judiciary amendments a few months back, we haven't done any payments, but there was no formal decision made on not paying. So if Serbia will fulfill the criteria, of course, and we hope this. I think it's very important that when we have a candidate countries, we are aware, and this is also what our president and myself have many times said, a candidate status comes with commitments on both sides, and we expect from a candidate country to develop, not to go in the regression on certain areas.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be in Brussels this morning. I thank High Rep Kallas and Commissioner Kos for the invitation, for the possibility to engage with European institutions as well as the member states, focusing on the issue of enlargement. Enlargement is an imperative for the European Union as well as for the candidate countries. It is about removing the Western Balkans from being the gray zone of Europe to creating it into a set of countries that have a very clear path towards membership. My country has achieved, especially in the last months, very tangible reform when it comes to the implementation of the reform agenda. We are 100% aligned with the EU CFSP, which means both in tangible reforms, but also in strategic outlook, we have a very clear path towards membership. Our request to the member states is multifaceted. First, we need to depart from bilateral trilateralization of accession criteria, but we also need to engage on other core issues that are not related to enlargement per se. And here we refer to security and defense, which is crucial. We refer to the necessity of better communication when it comes to issues related to economy and trade. And what we also need is further engagement related to challenges such as energy security, food security, as well as digitalization.
Raise the awareness what Russia is really very happy that citizens of Montenegro, the numbers went well after winning the Russian more than 10%. So it is really proof that once the government of Montenegro and the European Union are working together,
Good morning, everybody. I am very happy to join today's EU Western Balkans informal discussions here in Brussels, hosted by Madame Kallas. Let me start by saying that Kosovo is strongly committed to European future of Western Balkans. We are delivering on reforms, are fully aligned with foreign and security policy of European Union and contributing for the stability of the region. But what is undermining actually the architecture of security of Western Balkans, but also of entire Europe, is Russian malign influence in our region. And that's why I think that a united and enlarged European Union is to be seen always from the perspective of strategic necessity. Regarding dialogue with Serbia, Kosovo was always and will be always constructively engaged in the dialogue, but the dialogue needs to be concluded with mutual recognition. Also, we want to have an equal and fair treatment by European Union. We are ready as Kosovo to move and advance within this framework of merit-based process. But at the same time, what we think is actually, what does it mean? This merit-based process is for Kosovo to have the status of candidate country and to start negotiations for accession with the European Union. And let's start by having the questionnaire. This is the first step. I am looking forward for very positive and some concrete outcomes. Thank you very much.
Good morning. We're going to start the day with a conversation on the Western Balkans. It's a day actually focused on our neighborhood. Romania stands as a resilience factor and as a partner in the transition towards a stronger European future for the countries in our neighborhood, and we're grateful to start the day with a conversation on the Western Balkans, where we will also address our priorities as chairmanship in office of the Central European Initiative, and also share the news that Romania will take over the presidency starting 1st of July of the Southern Europe cooperation process, and we're going to hold a summit in 2027. Of course, as we talk about our neighborhood and Europe's priorities in terms of security, enlargement of the market and prosperity, it is essential throughout the day that we also advance our efforts in terms of supporting the resilience of Ukraine and increasing our collective position in terms of Europe's participation in the peace negotiations. And we're going to have a conversation focused on the war of aggression, the illegal war of aggression that Russia started against Ukraine. Of course, I will share with my colleagues the incidents that have taken place on Romanian territory where 2 drones carrying explosives have illegally entered our airspace as a consequence of the fact that we're bordering the war. As we go throughout the day, we're going to have a point where we're going to present our own conclusions from the conversation led by President Nicu Jordan in the European political community last week in terms of the impact that the vertical corridor can have on our energy resilience and the transatlantic partnership. The vertical corridor is very important from Romania's perspective, as we also have a contribution there as a transit country, and we are collaborating with the rest of the countries to lower the costs of it reaching Europe, because we think in the future we're going to have an increased need of energy, and therefore we need to have a diversified source that can be accessed through the continent and the region. Romania itself is currently the #1 natural gas producer in the European Union, and with the Neptune Deep reserves we are almost going to double that amount. In terms of the decisions that are now on the table of our Council, it is again a place where Romania has a focus on international law, and that is going to be our position throughout the day. Also, a short mention on the situation back home, as it has come to the attention of the European and the global community. Romania stands firmly on our European and transatlantic path. We have had what democracies have, which is a heated conversation in Parliament with a decision, and we are now a caretaking government until a new coalition and a new government is put into place after the consultations with President Nicu Jordan. But it has always been the case that the citizens in Romania are committed to their profound pro-European transatlantic path, and this is the case now that the negotiations are taking place only around pro-European North Atlantic potential leadership in terms of political decisions.
Minister,
thank you.
What do you think about Kaja Kallas' proposal that in the peace talks with Russia, Transnistria and the Russian withdrawal from there should be one of the preconditions?
It is quite clear that we shouldn't allow for any army to illegally occupy territories of other countries, and that is the case of Transnistria as well. We're having conversations with Moldova, with President Maia Sandu, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs Mihai Popșoi on that. Often what we're seeing in Transnistria is also graduate transformation in terms of the will of the citizens there. In the previous elections in Moldova, we have seen almost a third of them vote pro-European, and imagine this is the case in a region that is occupied. So it is very important that that is going further. We're also following what's happening at the OSCE level, where the mission in Moldova is going to be focused continuously on Transnistria as well, and now there's a process where there's an international selection of the candidates.
Minister, a question on the drones, drone fragments that have been falling inside NATO territory. Do you think NATO as an alliance should be doing more on this issue?
I think NATO as well as our alliance is continually doing more in terms of increasing our capacity to defend and deter. We have a focus on air defense. Actually, I have had in Bucharest a delegation from the United States. The focus has been on creating a common market in terms of the products on air interceptions, air defense, and to have that available to other countries as well. We have also decided from the SAFE budget to invest on what will be a common production facility between Ukraine and Romania on Romanian territory, so we're able to produce the modern instruments that are needed for our armies.
Minister, what do you think of Putin's idea to bring in the old chancellor of Germany, Schröder, as a mediator for peace talks?
First of all, Putin needs to bring himself and his own Russian delegation at the peace talks with serious intentions to go ahead. Thank you.
Mr. Trump rejected today.
Where
yes,
is
I'm here. Mr. Trump rejected today the Iranian deal whatsoever going there. The EU is promoting political solution, but what political solution exactly we are promoting and which means you have to make leverage to promote this solution?
It is quite clear that the world is expecting a solution, especially on reopening the Strait of Hormuz. That's where Romania contributes at the Franco-British initiative, but also we have joined the U.S. State Department-led initiative in terms of diplomatic efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and also reach common ground. I have seen the statements of United States as well as the statements from Iran. It is clearly that we are not yet at the point where we can say a solution has been reached, but I know as a fact also from my counterparts in the region for ministers of foreign affairs from the Middle East that the priority remains that everyone sits at the negotiation table and finds a solution. And because everyone sees it directly in the energy prices or in terms of the risks that are being posed in agriculture because of the fertilizer blockage, and it is now already a human rights issue as well if we are to look at the number of people that are stuck on those boats at the current moment, it is quite clear that it is needed that we have an increased international effort towards finding a solution.
Last thing about Romania specifically, actually.
Yes.
We saw before that your government was clearly supportive of the military operation logistically in Iran. Like I think the president, the prime minister, mentioned that when the Americans asked us for help, we support them. Now the Americans, they are withdrawing some troops from Germany. Are you worried about the security guarantee that the Americans are providing to Europe and to Romania?
So Romania's decision in Parliament at the proposal of the President and the Prime Minister and the government was to allow for increased access exclusively for defensive military actions in terms of refueling, for example, those types of decisions. And we believe it is the case in terms of defense and in terms of common defense that allies support each other. Thank you.
Back in Brussels for the EU Foreign Affairs Council. Busy day ahead, also the lunch with Canadian Foreign Minister and then the International Coalition for Return of Ukrainian Children. Also I will go to meet NATO Secretary General to discuss cooperation between EU and NATO. So a busy day. Of course, what we expect is practical work on the next round of sanctions, of the sanctions against Russia, substantial discussion and conversation on both how to help Ukraine to be stronger on the battlefield, to make sure that they are strong at the negotiation table. They've been progressing very well. Currently the battlefield looks, okay. It's never good to have war, but at least the Ukrainian situation has stabilized. And Russia looks weak, so we need to strengthen Ukrainian positions. And then, of course, on the Middle East, there is a whole spectrum of concerns. It's not only about Hormuz. We, as a member of UN Security Council, are working on a new resolution on Hormuz, so we hope that Russia and China don't veto it this time. And then, of course, what we can do for our own populations to sort of smooth the situation with the higher prices for fuel, with inflation rising and other issues. Then transatlantic relations, which is indeed an important matter for all of us. When we look at the trade flows, when we look at security, when we look at bilateral relations, both Canada, US are our most important international allies and partners. So that's a day in short.
Who do you think would be the best bet to be at the negotiation table
It's European continent where the war is happening, and of course Europe will have an important role to end any war. And it's not only about Euro-Atlantic integration of Ukraine and Moldova and other countries for that matter, but it's actually about the parameters and strategy how to end the war, and those conversations are needed. So we will be having those also.
Minister, what do you think about Putin's latest statements that the conflict in Ukraine is coming to an end? Is it another his game from the time, or what?
We believe that when we see it in action. for now, even during the so-called ceasefire that he begged for, we have not really seen the cessation of hostilities. So it's premature to really suggest something like that.
Do you think that Russia...
Minister, what do you think of the withdrawal from U.S. troops from Germany? And could these troops actually strengthen, like, maybe eastern flank if they get enough?
We would very much welcome that development, but I think there is still sort of conversations ongoing about all that. What I can see and what our assessment is that from the current conflict in the Middle East, you know, the Hormuz situation and everything, if anything, the EU, the European and American relationship is the closest in military ways that it can be, because US does depend on European allies for very much of what it is doing. And that shows this relationship's importance, but also a military significance, that theaters are related. So instead of withdrawing or, you know, leaving, I think we need to strengthen the relationship.
Minister, do you think that Russia is trying to put Europe back into pre-2022 mindset by putting people like Schroeder in the negotiation table? Or what does it mean?
I don't know. I think this is too complicated. What Russia is trying to do, I think we should concentrate on what we are doing and what our objectives are and what we are trying to achieve. And that is our own security. We have enshrined 5% of GDP in defense in law in Latvia. We are strengthening support to Ukraine. We are building very strong transatlantic relationship both with Canada and the US, and we are trying to limit Russian ability to wage the war as much as possible by new sanctions, by implementing sanctions, by isolating Russia internationally, and so on and so forth.
So Europe is just...
One by one, no, sorry.
How concerned are you if the Strait of Hormuz continue to close? And do you have enough energy or fuel for next year?
We are okay. I mean, Latvian energy policy is quite sustainable. I cannot speak for everyone in the EU. I can only speak what our lessons have been, that more than half is renewables in Latvia. And the LNG is 80% American, the rest Norwegian. And we will continue. We are building more solar, more wind capacity, and we'll continue doing that. And I think that is one way where Repower EU, the decisions that we have made to be less dependent on the fossil gas and oil from Russia is right what we need. From other hand, of course, with the rising prices, money has been going into Russia's budget, which from one hand increases the income and ability to finance the war. So that is a negative effect from the war. We have also seen incentives in the Gulf for the countries to develop new pipelines. It will take longer time, obviously, but that is something that is, again, alternative routes. Will cost money, but we see that in Saudi case it works, so it will be probably more sustainable than also the way around. So there are various issues that are interlinked, but I think the best way out is really to return to the situation where Hormuz is open, where countries can work peacefully, respecting international maritime law, because international law is international law. We have all signed up to it, and continue collaboration in the best peaceful way. I thank you.
So what can the EU do to bring back these abdicated children to their motherland, Ukraine?
We are working very closely. There are specific projects. Some are law enforcement projects, some are open source investigations, some are, other tracking projects in various countries, and identifying children, really making sure that they can be returned, because Russia is trying to erase their identity. And it's actually, when you look at the Genocide Convention, it's one of the features of the genocide crime. So it's very serious. That's why these efforts, international cooperation and practical return efforts are so important. I thank you.
Bonjour, conseil important après les élections hongroises, une des
un déblocage en fait du dossier ukrainien du fait d'un changement de gouvernement. En tout cas, c'est les dernières nouvelles qu'on a. Réunion aussi avec nos collègues ukrainiens. Je sais qu'il y a beaucoup de pression maintenant. Est-ce que les Ukrainiens doivent devenir membres de l'Union européenne ou pas? Est-ce que ça doit être fait tout de suite? Vous savez que je suis quelqu'un d'assez prudent. On a des critères qui sont à respecter. Et puis c'est comment expliquer aux Balkans qu'on a des règles qu'on change au fur et à mesure. Donc j'espère qu'on avancera concrètement, mais en tout cas positif sur les évolutions. Et puis là, on a un petit déjeuner justement avec les ministres des Affaires étrangères des Balkans. Puis après Israël et la Palestine et l'Iran. Et là, je dois vous dire que je ne sais plus quoi dire. On a encore 35 Palestiniens qui ont été blessés par des colons violents. Et à l'intérieur, on n'arrive pas à décider. J'espère qu'on arrivera à travers une majorité qualifiée à les condamner. Il n'y a aucune mesure qu'on arrive à prendre, tout simplement parce qu'il y a toujours des pays qui sont frileux. Alors je veux bien que certains nous disent que l'histoire font qu'ils sont éternellement redevables d'Israël, mais ça ne pardonne pas. Ça ne pardonne pas. On ne peut pas accepter tout simplement de fermer les yeux. Ce qui s'est passé au Liban aussi, on était presque en train de provoquer un deuxième Gaza. Pour l'instant, il y a un cessez-le-feu. J'espère que ça va continuer et qu'on arrivera à tenir. Voilà. Op letzte wo je lo nach. Voilà, also min haut de wichtige Kons, mir hunn eng Rëtsch vu Punkt Nummer de Jocht vun och d'Ukraine. Bei der Ukraine just fir präzis so, dats ma froh sinn, dass zu gut pas eng Regierung se gennert, tos sie noch evaluieren, méi wann Schlo gesot kräen, dass d'Ukraine mis de Member gi vun der EU viersichtig sinn schwg der Meinung, du wisst, dass man och eng Rëtsch vu Balkanländer, die nach ëmmer werden fir an die EU zu kommen, an die Kriterien. Am kann net am Fong Spielregeln andere, wann bis enkert Kurs lancéiert ass. Anschwingen, dass sie so noch viersichtig sind, an vielleicht auch ein bisschen Ordnung am Haus kriegen, selber an der EU, einmal los probieren, zu sollen, sind wir zu 30 oder zu 35. Mit Israel muss ich sagen, dass ich kein Wert damit fanden. Also, wir haben nach 35 Palästinenser, die gestern blessiert gesehen von brutalen Settlers. Und da sind wir einen und anderen, die sagen, nee, wir können nicht schaffen, dass wir die Majorität qualifizieren, aber wir können Zeichen setzen. Wir können nicht einfach dazu machen. Also, an der Ukraine, sobald irgendetwas geschieht, dann scheint es mir alle gut, aber bei der Palästina geschieht, am Libanon, gibt mal gut dazu machen, das geht nicht. Voilà, merci.
Les ministres des Balkans occidentaux, quel sera votre message pour le ministre monténégrin et trouvez-vous réel que le Monténégro devienne l'État membre d'ici 2028?
Je pense qu'il y a tout simplement des critères qui sont respectés. Nous avons Marta Kos qui nous tient au courant toujours de l'évolution des dossiers. Si les critères sont remplis, oui. Ce que je vous ai dit, on ne peut pas dire que maintenant le Monténégro ou d'autres pays candidats doivent être tributaires en fait d'une accession de l'Ukraine, parce que ça c'est aussi une autre chose. On dit toujours oui, l'Ukraine doit. Si les critères sont remplis, je pense que le Monténégro, comme un autre pays du Balkan, pourra y accéder. Mais c'est vrai que le Monténégro est en fait le bon élève pour l'instant. Voilà. Tschüss.
Good morning, Kalimera. Today's Education, Sport, Youth and Culture Council reflects the Cyprus presidency vision, an autonomous union open to the world. And this is not only relevant with socio-political or economic changes and strengths, it is highly relevant, and it's highly relevant with investing in people. And this investment in people is related with empowering citizens, making educational systems stronger, and giving opportunities to young people. Today, ministers are expected to approve PGA on Erasmus+. Erasmus+ is highly relevant with the MFF, and this is very important. It is one of the most successful and most important programs of the Union, which gives opportunities for mobility to young people, millions of young people, and of course gives and provides the European identity. Moreover, we are expected to discuss the basic skills which are very, very important for social cohesion, strengthening Europe, and of course resilience among citizens. These basic skills are going to be discussed within the European education area. Another issue that is very important for our discussions is strengthening and empowering young people. This is very important. In order to have policies, you need to take into account young people from the beginning, shaping the policies, and not only for them, but with them. So we're going to discuss, we've already begun to discuss the youth strategy that goes beyond 2027. And finally, we are discussing the AI and teachers. Today, we are expecting ministers to approve the Council conclusions on AI and teachers. Teachers need to be supported, need to be skilled in order to have a wise and very powerful use of AI within the boundaries of the pedagogy. I'm more than happy to have the discussions today and tomorrow with other ministers. And of course, this Council demonstrates the commitment of the Cyprus presidency regarding the participation of people, regarding the investment on people, and of course giving opportunities for skills, strengthening and empowering people for being more resilient and more participatory. Thank you.